Friedrich Nietzsche, because
Mm.
Nietzsche had some very strong opinions about kind of what we're experiencing. But I would venture to say that I don't know, but my guess would say that Nietzsche probably had a feeling that the world was headed toward nihilism, right? But I don't think he could anticipate what that nihilism would look like today. In the same way, like I think when I think of Friedrich Nietzsche's view on nihilism, I imagine just a whole what's the word I'm looking for? I can picture it being much more grander than I think the nihilism ended up being, right? If that makes sense. Because what I think the nihilism that we're falling into today is more of a passive one where instead of, you know what I mean, instead of just the whole world having no meaning, the meaning is comforts, it's creature comforts, right? Like instead of doing anything of really hard or fucking really difficult, we do the easiest thing, right? We the way I don't know why you're laughing. What did I say?
Nothing. My brain's just.
No, but my point is that everything, the way we're engineering our world today, right? Our phones, like think about doom scrolling, right?
Right.
I would say the way we doom scroll and the way we use technology, I would say that's definitely a form of nihilism, right? Where now we're just pursuing something that has no meaning, right? And it's not to say that, and I think we talked about this a little bit on the last show about phone time, right? Is phone time in and itself a bad thing? No, but what are you doing? What are you doing with that time? If you're on the phone for 10 hours and you're actively working towards something, I would say that's fundamentally different than 10 hours of doom scrolling, right? And but that's kind of what a lot of people are falling into. They're falling into something that requires no meaningful input, right? And part a hallmark of nihilism is lacking meaning, lacking any purpose. And if you're using technology without any purpose, or you're doing something without purpose, like spending all of your time, your resources, and money at essentially as a big fair, right? It's a fantasy. They have in their name fantasy land, right? And it's this facade of happiness and comfort. And there's no struggle at Disneyland. There's no suffering at Disneyland, save for the fucking, parents who are walking around with a 2-year-old who took a shit in his pants and is crying, and that's suffering. But I mean, in general, like they call it the happiest place on earth, right? But is that happiness even earned? I don't know. It's a good question. I mean, maybe for the people like Walt, yeah, I think he could probably say, I fucking worked my ass to build this place. But what did it come to mean? What did it come to represent? And I think it's kind of like a mecca for the people who are just trying to escape, right? Or trying to do very little to have fun. Because when you go to Disneyland, I mean, what's the purpose? Like, there's no like grand purpose to going to Disneyland.
It's an amusement park.
It's an amusement park. It's a fantasy land. And so I would say that not just Disneyland. I don't mean to shit on Disneyland because I don't think Disneyland is evil or wrong or bad. I think going and enjoying those things in moderation aren't terrible, right?
Right.
But we're creating a world of men who are living online more or living in these fantasy lands, and it's wild. So when you think about, hey, are men philosophically and spiritually weaker than we were in the past? I would say, yeah, but in some ways, like men had to suffer in different ways back then, where I think meaning was kind of, found in that suffering in some ways, right? Like war. I mean, those guys were in World War II. I mean, they went through physical and literal hell.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, like, what comes out of that? And maybe and that's the other part of this conversation that I think is important to examine, is maybe we're idealizing the past a little too bit, and can we make the argument that I mean, this is how Western culture has been trending anyways. Who knows? That's a
Well,
separate question.